Building a physical storefront is, it's tangible. Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can see if the open sign is crooked, right? You can literally watch a customer trip over a physical step near the entrance.
Right. It's right there in front of you.
Exactly. It's obvious what needs fixing. And it's usually really obvious who you need to hire to fix it. I mean, you call a carpenter to fix the step, you call a painter for the walls. The physical world gives us this immediate, undeniable feedback.
Yeah, you really don't need a fancy data dashboard to tell you that the roof is leaking.
No, you definitely don't. But then, you step into the world of e-commerce, and when you build an online store, suddenly that whole feedback loop just goes completely dark.
It really does. It's a totally different game.
Right, because customers aren't tripping over a physical step anymore. They're bouncing from your site because of some bloated JavaScript file that you didn't even know existed.
Oh, the silent killers of conversion.
Seriously. And finding the right person to fix that invisible architecture, I mean, it feels like walking through a minefield. So today, we are mapping that invisible architecture out for you.
I really are.
Our mission in this deep dive is deciphering exactly when, why, and how you should hire a Shopify developer in 2026. And, doing it without burning through your hard-earned cash.
Which is so crucial right now. And we are anchoring this whole conversation in a very comprehensive stack of Q1 2026 market data.
Yes, fresh data.
Exactly. We're looking at real-world developer cost as of right now, concrete return on investment frameworks, and the hiring strategies that are actually working in the current landscape. Because knowing this stuff theoretically is one thing, but knowledge is only valuable when it's actually applied.
Preach. So to you listening right now, whether you are just, launching your first online store and trying to get your bearings, or maybe you're scaling a business that's already generating tens of thousands of dollars a month, navigating the tech side of this can be incredibly stressful.
Oh, for sure.
So just think of this deep dive as your map. And to read this map, we actually have to start with a concept that might sound a little counterintuitive for a deep dive about hiring developers.
Right, the 80-20 rule.
Yes, the 80-20 rule. Break that down for us.
So if we look at the current ecosystem, for most growing stores, just pairing a premium paid Shopify theme with a professional setup service delivers about 80% of the custom results you want.
Wow, 80%.
Yeah, and for only about 20% of the cost of a custom build. The reality is that premium themes today, they are built by entire teams of professional developers.
Right, they aren't just thrown together.
No, not at all. They amortize that massive development cost across thousands of buyers.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why you can buy this highly functional, robust framework for like a few $100. You don't always need to reinvent the wheel from scratch.
Which honestly brings us to the ultimate prerequisite question here. Because before you spend a single dime on a custom developer, we first need to figure out, do you actually even need one?
Right. It is honestly the most common trap store owners fall into.
Overhiring.
Exactly. Hiring for a full custom build when an off-the-shelf solution would work just perfectly.
Yeah.
But looking at the market data, there are basically 5 undeniable signals that indicate it genuinely is time to bring in professional help.
Okay, let's hear them. What's signal number 1?
Signal number 1 is hitting a visual ceiling. So you've reached the absolute limits of the drag and drop editor.
Ah, I've been there.
Right. You suddenly need a really dynamic product filter or a highly specific custom mega menu or, I don't know, a unique product page layout that just simply does not exist in your theme settings panel.
Yeah, and you end up trying to force the template to do something it wasn't built to do, and then the layout just totally breaks on mobile, or you end up with weird overlapping text everywhere.
Exactly. It just looks completely broken. So if signal 1 is hitting a visual ceiling, signal 2 is hitting a technical wall. And specifically, we're talking about speed.
Speed is huge.
Massive. The benchmark right now in 2026 is that if your pages take more than 3 seconds to load on mobile, you are actively losing sales.
3 seconds. That is not a lot of time.
It isn't. And this assumes you've already tried all the DIY fixes, right?
Yeah.
You compressed your image files, you deleted all those unused apps you installed last year.
Oh, the app hoarding. We all do it.
We all do.
Yeah.
But if you've done all that and the site is still crawling, that means the issue is buried deep in the theme's code itself.
Right. So we're talking about things like unoptimized liquid templates or render blocking CSS.
Yes, exactly. Those kinds of issues.
Actually, let's unpack that for a second, because render blocking sounds like heavy tech jargon, but it's actually a very literal description of the problem.
It really is.
Like, think of CSS as the paint and interior design of your website. If that code is render blocking, It basically means the customer's web browser is forced to read all of those heavy styling rules before it's even allowed to actually show the customer the product image.
Right. It's holding up the line.
Yeah. So the customer is literally just staring at a blank white screen while your site is like thinking about what color the buy button should be.
That is exactly what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And just to clarify the baseline there for folks, Liquid is Shopify's proprietary templating language. It's the native code that connects the visual storefront to the back-end database.
So it's the plumbing.
Pretty much. And untangling messy Liquid code or rearranging how that CSS loads, I mean, that is surgery. Only a developer can do that safely.
Makes total sense. Okay, what's Signal 3?
Signal 3 is complex platform migrations. So if you're moving a mature store from WooCommerce or Wix, Magento, BigCommerce over to Shopify, you are dealing with thousands of products, customer accounts, order histories.
And crucially, you are dealing with really complex SEO requirements. I see this happen all the time, honestly.
Oh, SEO nightmares.
It's terrifying. A store owner moves from WooCommerce to Shopify on their own. They get the products looking nice, but they don't realize that the actual URLs, the web addresses, for every single product have changed format.
Yep. And Google doesn't know that.
Right. Google still has the old addresses saved. So when a customer searches for your product, they click the Google link and bam, they hit a 404 error page.
Which just kills your traffic.
Entirely. So a developer comes in and writes the 301 redirects to map all those old digital addresses to the new ones, basically ensuring you don't lose your search rankings overnight.
Precisely. If you mess up a migration, you can literally lose the foundation of your business. So you definitely need a pro for that.
Good to know. And Signal 4?
Signal 4 is the need for custom real-time integrations. As businesses scale, they adopt specialized software. You might have an ERP, like an enterprise resource planning system.
The central brain for the warehouse, basically.
Right, the brain for inventory and finances. Or you might have a highly customized CRM tool. And when standard Shopify apps just don't support your really specific business workflow, you need a developer to build a private app using API connections.
So your systems can actually talk to each other instantly?
Exactly. And finally, Signal 5 is simply that your revenue justifies the investment.
Okay, the money talk?
Yeah, because when you are making over $10,000 a month, even tiny conversion improvements translate to very meaningful revenue. But there is a massive trap here that we really need to address.
Let's hear it.
Just because you have the revenue doesn't mean you should custom build everything. The data is very clear on this. Do not fall into the trap of custom building what an app already does perfectly well.
Okay, let's unpack this because it happens constantly.
All the time.
I mean, there are over 13,000 apps on the Shopify App Store right now. Hiring a developer to write custom code for standard stuff like customer reviews or a basic subscription model or a currency converter.
It's just a huge waste.
It's like hiring an architect to design a custom cup holder for your car when you could literally just buy one that clips to the air vent for $10.
That analogy hits the nail on the head. I love that. You are paying for the bespoke, hourly labor of a highly skilled professional to solve a problem that has already been mass solved by a whole software company.
Right. It makes no sense.
A $20 a month app is almost always going to beat a $2,000 custom build for those basic utility features. You really want to reserve your developer budget for truly custom requirements that give your specific store a unique competitive edge.
Okay, so let's say you've checked the boxes. You have those signals, the drag and drop isn't cutting it, your mobile site is crawling, you need that custom edge, and you aren't just reinventing a $10 app.
You're ready.
The immediate next question you have to ask yourself is, can you afford it? Which brings us to the source's revenue-based decision framework.
Right. And this framework is great because it removes all the emotion from the decision. It looks purely at the math of your business stage.
Let's walk through the stages.
Okay, so if your store is at $0 a month, meaning you're pre-revenue, you are firmly in the DIY zone. Use a free theme like Dawn. Focus your limited budget entirely on your product development and your marketing, not on custom design.
Yeah, don't build the custom mega mansion before you even know if anyone actually wants to live in the neighborhood. You have to prove the concept first.
Exactly. Prove people want to buy the product before you optimize the cart. Now, if you were making between $1,000 and $5,000 a month, you're in early growth.
Okay, so what's the play there?
Here, the recommendation is investing between $500 and $1,500 in a professional theme setup. You get an expert to configure a premium theme, ensuring it looks trustworthy and professional, but you still avoid those heavy custom coding costs.
Makes sense. Keep it lean but clean.
Moving up to the $5,000 to $20,000 a month range, this is the zone for targeted projects.
Like what?
Like, you hire someone to fix specific bottlenecks, like the checkout flow or a specific landing page. And finally, if you are pulling in over $20,000 a month, you are in the scaling phase. That is where full custom development actually pays off.
Because at that scale, fractions of a percent in your conversion rate matter immensely.
Exactly. The math totally changes.
But not all developer projects are created equal when it comes to return on investment, are they?
No, they definitely aren't. We really have to divide developer projects into high ROI and low ROI.
Give me some examples of high ROI.
High ROI includes getting those load speeds under 2.5 seconds. It includes completely overhauling your mobile user experience because right now, about 79% of all e-commerce traffic is on mobile.
Wow, 79%.
Yeah. If your mobile site is clunky, you are literally bleeding money every day. Low ROI, on the other hand, includes things like premature headless builds.
Okay, wait, let's pause on headless because that term gets thrown around a lot in tech circles right now as like the ultimate upgrade.
It's the big buzzword.
Yeah. But for those who don't know, going headless just means you are chopping the head, which is the visual storefront that the customer actually sees off the body, which is the Shopify backend database.
Right, you sever the two.
And you just use Shopify to manage the inventory and process the payments. But a developer builds a completely custom standalone website on top of it using advanced frameworks, stuff like Next.js or Shopify's own Hydrogen.
Right, and the appeal of a headless build is that it can be blazingly fast and infinitely customizable. You can do literally whatever you want.
Yeah.
But doing that is massive overkill unless you are doing major enterprise volume. It requires constant, expensive maintenance. You can't just install normal Shopify apps anymore.
Yeah, that's a huge drawback.
It is. Another major low ROI project is doing a complete visual redesign just to, make it look nicer
Right.
without any actual conversion data backing up the change.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm going to push back on that low ROI point regarding visual design.
Okay, let's hear it.
Isn't making a store look pretty the whole point of branding? I mean, doesn't a beautiful, highly polished store build trust with the customer? Aesthetics have to matter.
It's a fair point. And yes, baseline trust is absolutely crucial. Nobody is going to enter their credit card into a site that looks like it was built in 1998.
Right, with the blinking text and everything.
Exactly. But here's the critical distinction the data makes. Design changes must be driven by conversion metrics, not just subjective aesthetics.
Meaning what? Exactly.
Meaning, if a developer makes your site look like a minimalist modern art museum with hidden menus and subtle text, but customers can't easily find the Add to Cart button, your beautiful site is actively losing you money.
Form over function.
Yes. You optimize for conversion first, aesthetics second. Let me walk you through the math on how removing friction changes literally everything.
Okay, let's hear the math. I love the math.
Imagine your store has 10,000 visitors a month, and you have a 1.5% conversion rate, and your average order value, or AOV, is $50.
Okay, so 10,000 visitors, 1.5% converting, $50 a pop. That's $7,500 a month in revenue.
Spot on. Now, say you pay a developer $3,000 for a targeted optimization. They fix your page speed, and they streamline your checkout flow.
And let's be super clear about how that actually works. A developer isn't just waving a magic wand here. They are literally removing friction.
Exactly.
They might shave 1.5 seconds off the load time, or they might reduce a clunky 3-page checkout process to a single, seamless click. That removal of friction is the physical mechanism that captures buyers who would have otherwise abandoned their carts out of pure frustration.
Exactly. And because of that friction removal, your conversion rate boosts from 1.5% to 2.0%.
So just a 0.5% increase.
Just 0.5%. But with those same 10,000 visitors, you are now making $10,000 a month. That is $2,500 in additional recurring revenue every single month.
Wow, so that $3,000 developer fee pays for itself in just over a month.
Roughly 5 weeks, yeah. And over the course of a year, that tiny 0.5% increase generates an extra $30,000.
That's insane.
It's a 900% return on your initial $3,000 investment. So the question store owners really need to ask themselves is, are you viewing a developer as a sunk expense or as a revenue multiplier?
But wait, this math only works if you have sufficient traffic, right?
Correct. That's the catch.
Yeah.
If you only have 1,000 visitors a month, that same 0.5% bump only makes you an extra $250 a month.
Right, meaning it takes a full year to pay off the developer.
Exactly. Traffic dictates your ROI. You have to know your numbers before you write a check.
Okay, so now that we understand the math and the ROI, let's look at the actual price tags, because we need to figure out who we are handing that money to and what the going rates are in the current market.
Yeah, and the Q1 2026 data gives us very realistic ranges here.
Lay 'em on me.
If you just need a simple bug fix or a small tweak, you are looking at $100 to $500. A full theme setup and configuration runs $500 to $2,000.
Okay, pretty reasonable.
Yeah. If you need custom sections and templates built into your theme, you should budget $1,000 to $5,000. If you need a completely custom liquid theme built from the ground up, expect to pay between $5,000 and $15,000.
And what about the headless folks?
If you are that enterprise going for a massive headless build, you're starting at $15,000 and easily scaling past $50,000 depending on the complexity.
Man, those are pretty wide ranges. How do you actually decide who to hire for those different scopes of work?
So the talent pool is basically broken into 3 distinct hiring models. First, you have freelancers. They generally charge between $30 and $150 an hour.
Okay.
They're flexible, they're cost-effective, and you get direct one-on-one communication. They are really best for small to mid projects under 10 grand.
And the second model?
Second, you have Shopify experts. These professionals charge $75 to $200 an hour.
A bit of a jump.
Yeah, because they are vetted and certified by Shopify itself, meaning you're paying a premium for guaranteed platform expertise and a verified portfolio.
Makes sense.
And the third, you have agencies charging $100 to $250 an hour. Agencies are really for large, full-service projects where you need a project manager, a UI/UX designer, a strategist, and multiple developers, all working in tandem over several months.
So what does this all mean? Honestly, it maps so perfectly to home repair.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Think about it. A freelancer is your trusted local handyman. They are great for fixing a leaky pipe or patching some drywall quickly and affordably.
I like that.
A Shopify expert is like a specialized, licensed electrician. You know, you call them when you need to rewire the entire kitchen and you absolutely need it done to code without burning the digital house down.
Right, high stakes.
Exactly, and an agency is a full general contracting firm. You hire them when you're adding an entirely new second story to the house, and you need a whole team to manage the chaos, the permits, and the structural integrity.
That is the exact dynamic. I mean, you wouldn't hire a massive general contractor with a dedicated project manager just to fix a single leaky pipe.
No, the overhead and communication layers would be ridiculous, and it would cost a fortune.
Exactly. But regardless of who you hire, whether it's the handyman or the agency, there is a golden rule for payment that protects both sides.
Yes. You never pay 100% upfront.
Never.
We can call paying 100% upfront the hostage protocol. Because if you pay for the entire project before a single line of code is written, your money is held hostage. You have zero leverage if the developer just stops returning your emails.
It's a terrifying position to be in.
But conversely, if you demand to pay 100% only at the very end of the project, well, the developer's labor is held hostage. They take all the risk.
Right, which is exactly why the industry standard is 30-40-30.
Walk us through that.
You pay a 30% deposit to initiate the work and secure their time. You pay 40% at a clearly defined mid-project milestone like, say, when they deliver the staging site for you to review.
Okay.
And the final 30% is paid only upon completion, final testing, and launch.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Milestones keep both parties actively invested in reaching the finish line. Now, for smaller projects under a couple of grand, a simple 50-50 split is totally common too.
Okay, so armed with our budget, knowing the ROI math, having picked our fighter, and knowing how to avoid the hostage protocol, the final hurdle is execution.
The scary part.
Right. How do you actually hire someone without getting scammed? I mean, we have all heard the horror stories of disappearing developers and completely broken code.
We have. And the difference between a $3,000 project that works flawlessly and a $3,000 project you have to pay someone else to redo comes down entirely to vetting. The foundational step, the thing that makes or breaks the whole endeavor, is writing a hyper-specific project brief. A vague brief gets vague quotes and usually ends in massive scope creep.
Well, yeah, a vague brief is just emailing someone and saying, hey, can you make my checkout faster and my store look better?
Which means nothing.
Right, it leaves everything open to interpretation. So what does a hyper-specific brief actually look like in practice?
It means you state your business background, your specific conversion objectives, your hard budget range, and your exact technical stack. But most importantly, you provide specific real-world references.
Give me an example.
Sure. You write in your brief, I want a custom product page layout similar to Majuri, and I want dynamic filtering exactly like Allbirds.
Ah, naming names.
Yes, when you give them that level of detail, they can price it accurately because you both know exactly what the finish line looks like.
I'd assume a big part of vetting the responses to that brief is making sure their past work actually functions in the real world today, right? Because, I mean, anyone can Photoshop a nice mock-up of a website or send a slick PDF proposal.
Absolutely. You have to look for specific green flags during the interview process, and the biggest one is a portfolio of live stores built between 2024 and 2026.
Live stores.
Not old screenshots, live URLs that you can visit on your own phone to test the page speed and the mobile user experience yourself.
Smart.
You also want to see that they mention Online Store 2.0 capabilities, which is Shopify's current architecture framework, and they should explicitly guarantee post-launch support in their quote.
Like a warranty.
Basically, usually about 30 days of bug fixes after the site goes live.
Nice. So what are the red flags? If live 2026 URLs are a green flag, I'm guessing an outdated portfolio is the first warning sign.
Yep. If they can only show you projects from 3 or 4 years ago, run. The platform changes way too fast. Their knowledge is definitely outdated.
Run away.
If they are unfamiliar with Liquid, run. If they promise unrealistic timelines without taking the time to even ask about your specific customers or your business goals, that's a huge warning sign.
They're just copying and pasting.
Exactly. They're just trying to churn out a template. And obviously, if they demand 100% payment up front or don't offer a clear milestone schedule, that is a hard stop.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because before you sign a massive contract, there is this risk mitigation strategy in the source called the paid test.
It is honestly one of the smartest strategies you can use, and it's surprisingly underutilized.
Really? How does it work?
Before you commit to a $5,000 or $10,000 project, you just hire the developer for a tiny $200 to $500 task.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a small bug fix on your collection page or adding a single custom section to your homepage.
It's a paid audition.
Exactly.
You get to see exactly how they communicate. Do they meet the mini deadline? How do they handle your feedback? What does their actual code quality look like? You learn all of this for a few $100.
It's incredible value.
Right. And if they ghost you, or if they do terrible work, you've saved yourself thousands of dollars in potential rework and months of stress. You just part ways and move to the next candidate on your list.
You're just testing the working relationship before getting married to a massive contract.
Try before you buy.
Exactly. And speaking of safety, there is one final critical security protocol to observe. When you do hire them and they are ready to start working, always grant access via Shopify's collaborator system. Never, ever hand over your actual admin passwords.
Oh man, handing over your master password is like giving a contractor the permanent keys to your house, your safe, and your car just so they can fix the sink.
It's wild that people do it. The collaborator system gives you granular control. You can dictate exactly what parts of your store they can touch.
Like maybe they only need access to the themes and the products.
Right, but absolutely not your customer data or your financial settings. And when the project is done, you can just revoke that access with a single click.
Keep your digital keys safe, folks. All right, let's take a breath and recap the journey we just went on. If you've been listening, you now have a real, actionable blueprint. You know exactly when you can rely on the drag-and-drop theme editor and when you've hit those 5 signals like speed walls and complex integrations that actually require a pro.
The signals are key.
You know how to run the ROI math to ensure a developer is actively removing friction to make you money rather than just costing you. And you have the vetting tools, the hyper-specific briefs, the red flags, the paid auditions, to avoid those costly disasters.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the ultimate goal of your online store isn't to have the most complex, highly customized code on the internet.
No, nobody cares about your code.
They really don't. The goal is to have a store that converts traffic into revenue efficiently so that you can step away from the tech headaches and focus on actually growing your business, sourcing better products, reaching more customers. The technology should serve your growth, not the other way around.
Well said. And I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over.
Yeah.
We discussed how, right now, in 2026, the theme editor and the app ecosystem handle about 80% of what most stores need.
Right.
But just think about the trajectory we're on. As AI and drag-and-drop tools continue to advance at this breakneck pace, will that 80% eventually become 95%?
That's a great
Or
question.
99%? At what point in the future will the very concept of hiring a custom developer for an e-commerce store become entirely obsolete? Something to think about the next time you're staring at your digital storefront, wondering why that invisible door won't open. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.